Hey guys, I'm just gonna wait a little second. I've never gone TikTok live before, so hopefully my sound's okay. Okay, I'm gonna get into it. I thought I would just jump on here and talk about something that's been on my mind lately, especially as a recovered perfectionist, and why this work actually just isn't about getting it perfect. Thanks for joining. If you're new here, I talk a lot about being the strong one and what starts to shift when you've been that person for a long time. And I do like to especially speak to the eldest daughters, the women of color, and just women who've kind of always had to hold a lot emotionally, mentally, all of it. So yeah, let's talk about why it's not about getting this perfect. I hope that you can hear me. But yeah, so something I have been thinking about a lot lately, it's actually less about never slipping back into old patterns, and it's more about how quickly you notice and come back to yourself. Like, for example, recently I said yes to something and I later realized I actually don't want to do that. So instead of following through out of obligation, I cancelled. And yeah, I had that moment of like, ugh. But at the same time, it felt really good to actually honor myself. Another small one, I had a bit of a weird moment with a neighbor lately. They didn't really acknowledge me, and for a second I caught myself going into like the whole, have I done something wrong? And I really had to check that in myself and remind myself probably has nothing to do with me, and it's also not my responsibility to manage that. So those little moments really reminded me this isn't about getting it perfect. It's about being present enough to notice what's happening. Thanks for joining, guys. We're talking about why it's not about perfection. Especially for the strong one who's used to carrying it all. On a deeper level, a lot of the patterns are things that we've learned or inherited because at some point they helped us feel safe. Being the reliable one, being the easy one, being the one that holds things together. That wasn't random, it served a purpose for you. But as you start to change that, even in small ways, it can feel really unfamiliar, sometimes uncomfortable in your body, and that's because your system is used to what's familiar, even if it's not what you actually want anymore. So naturally, we tend to go back to those patterns that once kept us stable. Yeah. So that's why it's important to be gentle with yourself, always. And something really simple that you can try, especially in those moments where you feel that pull to go back into your old pattern. Maybe it's after you say no or after you set a boundary. It's just catching it. Just catch that moment where you want to over explain or you want to go back on what you said. And instead of reacting straight away, just pause. Just pause. even just taking one breath, let yourself sit in it for a second. And even if you do slip, that's actually okay, because the most important part is just starting to notice that moment, because in that moment, that is where things can start to shift. That's when you can change. And it's crazy how much awareness helps. Awareness is not everything, but it does really help to get that ball rolling. Yeah, thanks for joining. We're talking about perfectionism and returning to self. Yeah. So a question I get a lot is, how do you know when it's time to do this work? And honestly, I think your curiosity about it is usually a good sign. For me, before I really started this work, it showed up as feeling a bit snappy. I get really snappy with people. And I was kind of doing a lot of things out of obligation. And I wasn't really feeling good in the way that I was showing up. That's what really made me realize I need to do something about this, and that's how I started getting into this work. Yeah. Another question I get a lot is, what actually changes day to day once you start kind of embodying your real self? And it's super subtle at first. But over time, you kind of start to access parts of yourself that you didn't have space for before. You can start showing up in ways that actually feel good for you, and not just what's expected of you. And there is a bit more steadiness, a bit more safety in just being yourself, which I think is really important, especially in this day and age. Easy not to feel confident in yourself, but I think through growing an internal safety, you can really expand and achieve so much. I'm so honored to have you guys all here. Thank you for joining. I'm trying to work out how you get to messages. Oh yeah, here we go. I've never done a TikTok live before, so it's cool. Different platform. I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed having you all here. It's been such an honor. And if this is something that you're in at the moment, struggling with your patterns and falling back into old ways of being, this is the kind of work that I do with people that I'm really excited and passionate about. And if this resonates, you are always welcome to reach out, always welcome to ask questions. I'll also be opening up a small space to work more closely with a few people soon. So yeah. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Did anyone else want to ask anything or have any questions? Well, I appreciate you guys. I might try and do the same kind of time next week, and we'll explore more of my recent learnings and practical tips that you can apply. So the practical tip for this kind of week is just catching yourself in that moment where you feel like that old pattern is about to come out. That's just catching yourself in that moment and being aware of that pattern. And it's okay if you slip up. Bring your awareness, take a second, and just be gentle with yourself. So yeah, have a beautiful day. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Thank you. Always appreciate the love.